We think of universities as these bright places, full of hope and ambition. But what happens when that pressure just becomes way too much? Well, today, we're looking into a story from a really prestigious college in India, where one student's tragedy was so deep, so profound, they say he never really left.
So, let's set the scene. We're talking about one of Pune's absolute top engineering colleges. I mean, this is a place filled with brilliant minds, promising futures, a stellar reputation. It's literally the last place on earth you'd expect to find a ghost story. But, as is so often the case, underneath that shiny surface of academic achievement, there are whispers. Whispers of this deep, negative energy. An energy that was born from a tragedy that the college tried its very best to make sure nobody ever found out about. Okay, so our story really kicks off in 2022. And it starts with the college principal, we're just going to call her RT. She is about to stumble upon a secret that the school's administration has spent years, literally years, trying to keep buried. So, picture this. It's the very last day before the big Diwali break. There was a student party, it's over now, and by 9 p.m. the whole campus is practically a ghost town. Everyone's gone home. Well, almost everyone. Principal Artie is still there, burning the midnight oil, all alone in her office, with absolutely no idea what's waiting for her in those empty halls. So she finishes up her work, and she's thinking she's completely alone, besides the night watchman somewhere on the grounds. But the second she steps out into that silent hallway, she hears a sound coming from upstairs that just makes her blood run cold. The sound? It's coming from a classroom on the second floor. A classroom that should be empty. And it's so specific, it's the scraping sound of chalk on a blackboard, the faint murmur of someone trying to solve a formula, and, most chillingly, the heartbreaking sound of a boy sobbing his heart out. Imagine how quiet it is. I mean, the silence in that college is absolute. The only thing she can hear are her own breathing, her own footsteps echoing on the stairs as she goes up, and that persistent, heartbroken crying. She gets to the classroom, she carefully peers through the little window in the door, and she sees him, a student frantically writing equations on the board, just sobbing. So she opens the door, to help him, and in the blink of an eye, he's gone. Vanished. But the equations he was writing, they're still fresh on the chalkboard. And just then, she hears someone running up the stairs. It's the night watchman, and his face is just white with terror. He doesn't even have to ask what happened. He already knows. He looks her right in the eyes and asks the one question she never expected. "Ma'am, you saw the boy, didn't you?" And then he tells her, it happens every single night. The only reason he hasn't quit his job is because he desperately needs the money. This wasn't a one-time thing, it's a nightly ritual. So, completely shaken, Principal Artie gets to the college the next morning, and she is determined to get some answers. Her digging unearthed this deeply tragic story from all the way back in 2008, and with it, the identity of the crying boy, a former student named Shubham. And Shubham's story, it turns out, is one of just immense struggle. You see, he had dyslexia. In a super demanding engineering program, that made things incredibly difficult for him. He was trying his absolute best, but the system it was completely failing him. I mean, just look at this timeline. It really shows you the sheer weight of his struggle. For 4 years straight, Shubham was stuck in his first year. Can you even imagine that? Every year, a new set of classmates comes in, while he stays behind. The year his original friends put on their graduation gowns, he was looking at yet another failing grade. The despair must have been just unbearable.
He told his friends he just couldn't take the failure anymore. They tried to comfort him, of course, but he said he just wanted to be alone. So he stayed behind in that exact same second-floor classroom. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. The next morning, his body was discovered right there, in that very room.
So this brings up a massive question, right? If this happened in 2008, why had Principal Artie never heard this story before? Well, because Shubham's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a scandal that the college worked overtime to conceal. The conflict here is just so stark. On one hand, you've got the devastating story of a student who was struggling and needed help. And on the other, you've got this big institution that's obsessed with its public image, its reputation, and its profits. So to avoid a scandal, this story of Shubham's suicide, it was never reported to the media. It was just swept under the rug. And look, this wasn't just some passive thing, it was an active cover-up. When a new watchman reported seeing a ghost on the second floor back in 2010, he was threatened. He was told he'd lose his job if he spoke out. So over the years, Shubham's ghost became this open secret among the staff, a story whispered in hallways but never ever spoken about openly.
And this really forces us to think, what is this haunting, really? Is Shubham's ghost just some scary story to tell at night, or is it something more? Is it an echo of unbearable pain trapped in a loop, forever asking for the help that he never, ever received when he was alive?
The source material for this story offers this really powerful perspective, imagining what the ghost might be thinking. It's a cry of anguish, not just from the pain of his struggle, but from the bitterness of being ignored, the sorrow, the sympathy from everyone that only came after he was gone. When he was alive, when he was begging for help, he was met with nothing but silence.
So, in the end, this isn't really just a ghost story, is it? It's a chilling reminder of how easily we can ignore the pain of the living just to protect an image or a reputation. And it leaves us with one really haunting question. If a ghost is a soul crying for help, why didn't anyone listen when they were still human?